Yeah, it's a mixture of different things,
Yeah.
and I'm competing for the first time in Nail Olympia online.
Oh,
So I'm doing like the mixed media and the flat
don't
art.
tell me. Don't tell me because I'm going to be one of the judges. We'll not discuss that.
Sorry, my fault. My fault. But yeah, I'm competing for the very first time, and it's
Wonderful.
really cool to really just have that opportunity. So if you can talk about like what tips could you give for someone who's competing for the very first time, and also like what to expect in a nail competition in general.
Okay, I can't talk about what you're doing, but of course I can give tips, about people competing for the first time. That's not an issue because um, it's the same question we get asked a lot. All I can say is, as a first-time competitor, make sure you read the rules. Okay, a lot of people they glance through the rules and they might get disqualified because they didn't read it properly. So, especially when you're in the art division, for example, let's say mixed media, for example, it will say that all the tips needs to be separated because in a competition, people tend to stick all the 10 tips together so that you get a bigger canvas, right?
Mhm.
And that way you can put more designs on it,
Mhm.
which is fine if the rule doesn't say that the tips have to be separate. But if you stick all the tips together into like a huge canvas, then you get disqualified. Okay,
Mhm.
you can get disqualified, or you can get, depending on the rules, 10 points deducted. Every point counts. So read the rules. That's number one. And they
Mhm.
also specify specifically like you have to use a manufacturer's tips, for example. Some people they create their own tips. So instead of making it curved, they might make it flat, right? So that there's more
Mhm.
surface for you to paint on it. So if they say that you have to use a manufacturer's tips, then you
Mhm.
have to. If you make your own tips, then what happens is that you will also get disqualified. So things like that. Okay, so that's one of the important things. Read the rules, understand it. If they say you stick any 3D art or embellishment, you got to have like half-inch allowance, left and right. Make sure you follow all that. Make
Mhm.
sure you measure it properly. So that's one.
Mhm.
Read the rules, very important. Secondly, I think that, as I said, a lot of people when they do nail art competition, make sure that the art is on the nail itself, not stuck on outside the nail. Make sure that there's a lot of details on the nails. Whatever you stick outside of it or 3D that's raised, that's just to enhance or to as part of the theme. But make sure there are details on the nail itself.
Mhm.
Put all your effort. Like if it's a mixed media, make sure you have at least 5 different mediums.
Mhm.
Don't just use acrylic and gel, right? If you have mixed media, that means you might be able to use paint, use gel, use fiberglass, use things that are related, embellishment, anything that is related to the nails in terms of mediums. That's why it's called mixed media. If
Mhm.
you're in fantasy, then also read the rules because sometimes they will give score for the costume. Like this is interesting. When I went to, I think it was Orlando, we had a competition for fantasy, and the judges checked the toenails of
Mhm.
the model. And if you've forgotten to make beautiful and clean toenails for the model, you get deducted for points because it's an overall look, the costume,
Okay.
right? You get your
Mhm.
beautiful nails done, although you're judged on the nails, but there is a 10 points for costume. So you got to make sure the hair, the makeup, or whatever you're dressing up the model, the costume, and the toes and what she's wearing, it all has to be complete. You know. So one of the models, I think, didn't have any like her nail polish chipped on the toenails, or she got deducted in points. So
Mhm.
things like that you want to avoid. But online, make sure you read the rules. So that's really important. So these are one of the tips I can give you where nail art is concerned.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but of course, then when you come to the other categories like sculptured nails and all that, you have to read read the points. That means that all the categories, how the judging criteria, because every criteria carries 10 points. You want to make sure you want to maximize your points. So read the criteria. If there's a criteria for C curve, then make sure your C curves, they're all consistent. If there's a criteria for side walls, you want to make sure all your side walls is consistent, because 10 fingers, right? So 10 points. So if your 8 fingers are consistent, 2's not, you get 2-point deduction.
Oh, okay.
Example, so something like that. So read the rules.
And also with being like a nail judge, like the amount of years that you've judged like different nail competitions, like what brings you like the most joy when you're like judging people's nails? Like what gets you excited about nail judging?
You get to see all the nails. You get to see the good, the best, the worst, everything. You get to see all of it. Okay, it's the main thing is, as a competitor, right? You understand what goes through, okay, each competitor's preparation towards a competition. You can tell by looking at the nails that how much effort they put into that competition. You can see the hard work, the training, or you can see the cavalier attitude as well. Some nails is like, what? Are you really competing with that nails? It's not even good enough for you to walk out of the salon. You've seen that.
Yeah.
You've also seen nails that really how much time and effort and training and everything they put into the nail from the model's hand. So you get to see the best to the worst, And you've also seen like people who are really talented. You can see the talent, but unfortunately, maybe they're nervous. They broke the nail. You can have 10 beautiful fingers, and then one, you see the line, broken nail. Maybe she was filing too hard, or maybe she was like, nervous. So you get to see emotions in all the nails. So that's really the main thing. As this is with the live competition, but I think with online competition, you won't get to see some of the things, because everything is done perfectly, photographed, so it's a bit different. But live competition is the most amazing.
From how you first began into like the beauty industry to now, like how do you see like the progression of the beauty industry? Not just only with social media and influencers, but also like with the products, the new techniques and trends. Like from how you first started into the industry to now, like how do you see like the whole progression of the beauty industry?
Okay. In terms of products and technology, definitely it's getting better and better and better every day. Okay, when I started out, we didn't even have gels. Well, we did have gels, but they were different. We had like powders, right? Liquid and powders. And then at that point, everybody was just busy talking about MMA, about the smell, about the fumes. People always talk like, at my time, everybody's like, oh, EMA, no MMA, and blah, blah, blah. That's always been a debate. And then later on, when gel came out, we had really good feedback, as in it doesn't have any smell, But at that point, the gels, they were shrinking a lot, okay? We would have issues with the lamp. We would have issues with the gel, not shiny enough, or they lift, or they tend to shrink a lot. And you can't even do proper nail art with gel, because every time you paint and then you cure it, and then the gel shrinks. And then later on, the progression, they came out with gels that works like paint, really thin, just works exactly like paint, no shrinking, nothing, beautiful. Then people can do better nail art with it. And then we wanted to do 3D with gel. And what did we have to do? We had to mix powder with gel together, to make it harder. And then what happens? 2 years down the road, you have the gel that doesn't move at all, right? You can almost work like acrylic. And then you see people with the tips that they just put it down on the gel and then lift up the tips and the nail is done. You keep seeing improvement. And then now even the 3D gel, they are so easy to work with. You could do all the knitted designs, you can do so many things, and I'm sure it's improving every single day. And if you look at some of the Russian work, right, they're using 3D gel, They can even sculpt a 3D flower with gel. We couldn't do that in the past. You know, nothing looks sharp. I used to love acrylic. I still do, because you can get that finish that's thin, very defined edges and so on. But now you can do the same thing with gel, and yet there's no fumes. You know, you won't have issue with liquid evaporating, worrying about MMA, you know, and worrying about filing. Everything is so easy to use now. So I think products can only get better. There's a huge potential. In fact, it's great. People who comes in and learn nails now, there's so many things available, you know, for you to use. So that's great. As with education, I don't think online training can ever take away the in-person training, you know, 100%. Because we're working with our hands, right? We're working with skills. Anybody who is serious in this industry, they should at least get an in-person training at some point, because the educator will be able to correct you if you're holding the files wrongly, if you're holding the client's nails wrongly, or, you know, the way you sit, you know, the way you file. You can't capture this in an online training. There's no way, you know. It's very easy to look at an educator and see how it's done. But for you to duplicate it is not so easy. If that was so easy, nobody needs to go to school. Everybody will be studying online, right? Especially when you're working with your hands. Just like you can watch cooking shows, you can watch a baking show, you can see all the designs done, but that doesn't mean you can duplicate the exact same thing. So I think in-person training will still be very relevant. But the online training is a great extension, because online training saves you a lot of time and money for upgrading and for for practice. Because if you go on an in-person training, you go home, you forget. But online training, you can replay and watch it over and over again in your free time. You save money on the travels. You know, we used to spend thousands of dollars flying, although the flying part was great. Like, you go to a new country, yeah, you experience new culture, food, everything, and the closeness you get with your fellow nail technicians, that's priceless. But online training will save you a lot of that. You save your money. You pay so much lesser for a lesson. You can get a lesson for $50 or $100. We used to pay $1,000, you know, just to fly over to get training done. So in that regard, it will be an extension of the in-person training. So that would be it. But in terms of service, in terms of the job itself, how are you going to do a service online? You have to be in person, am I right? So that would be necessary, because beauty is a part of your it's a part of the life, your human life. Everybody wants to look beautiful. Everybody wants to look presentable.
Right.
So yes, there's a huge market in beauty, but we just have to make sure that people who are in the industry needs to be trained properly.
Right.
They need to price properly. A lot of people, they don't know how to price properly. It's very sad to see that people are undercutting in terms of pricing. I think that as a job where you take care of people's nails and hands and feet, you want to make sure that you get a decent amount of salary in order to sustain yourself and the business, so that the industry can go on. If you price yourself too low, you won't be able to afford things. You won't be able to look after your family. Then who wants to be in the beauty industry? Nobody wants to work for life and not earning any money. So I think service industry needs, especially in nails, right? You need to price yourself properly and not undercut. And if everybody understands that, then everybody can survive, you know?
Right.
If you're pricing yourself too low, which is the case now, a lot of people, you know, I charge 30, you charge 29, and then somebody else charges 28. Same with education. You're pricing yourself cheaper and cheaper. How are you going to get better quality? It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So I think the industry, the people, they have to come together and at least have a minimum pricing so that they can survive.
Mm-hmm.
I know people who drop out from the industry is because they can't survive. Your products gets more expensive,
Right.
education, you got to upgrade, but you don't get paid enough for you to be able to stay in the business. So people just leave. And what happens, whoever's left behind are those people who have nowhere else to go. So they're just doing it for the sake of doing, right? And you won't get a good service, you won't get good products, and the industry will die in the end. So I think that this is the main thing, whether you're in Asia or you're in Europe or in the United States, people
Mm-hmm.
need to price their services correctly
Mm-hmm.
in order to survive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. You have to understand your worth and your value. And
Yeah,
also, you have to have a passion and dedication for being in the beauty industry. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I think to
Mhm.
a small degree, I think, we kind of lost a little bit of the passion. And,
Mm,
like how you said, back to social media, people, are going after like influencers, being inspired by influencers, these makeup artists, we don't know, in terms of like if they were trained or, whatever the case is, and when you go to somebody that's trained in the industry, you gain much more from it as to someone who is not as, experienced within the industry. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And it's good to look at different sources, but also like have that balance. Like, you could look at these different makeup artistries and like nail art and things of that nature, but also it's important to have training too. And I like how you talk about that. And
yeah.
I want to talk about a little bit about your hobby, your other passion, which is cooking. So how did you have this passion for cooking? And tell us about your cream and petals business.
Okay. Well, I love to eat. Okay, so naturally, when you love to eat, you have to learn how to cook. So when the first thing when I closed down my distribution business, I went to take a course seriously into baking,
Hmm.
and I actually flew to Korea
Hmm.
and learned from a few uh, decorators how to do the what they call the Korean buttercream flowers.
Hmm.
What's different is that it's very lively and it looks almost real. And I
Hmm.
love the way that the ingredients, because obviously you can see all these demonstration done on YouTube, right? Like I say, anytime you enter a new industry, you want to learn something, you Google it on YouTube, it's there, right? They'll show you how to do this, how to do that. But you realize that what they don't share with you is the recipe. Okay,
Hmm.
so obviously you will have to go and learn in order to get the recipe, and then from there, like anything else, you refine it, you change it to suit your weather. Like in Korea, when I went to learn, it was really really cold, so everything held up beautifully. But when I came back to Singapore and trying to duplicate, I have a problem. Unless I work in an air conditioned room that is set to 19 degrees Celsius, I couldn't get the thing to work the same. So you have to know how to try to R&D the recipe to fit your environment. So
Hmm.
that's how Cream and Petals came about, because I went to take the course and I decided that I wanted to offer, bespoke, customized cakes, and beautifully done,
Hmm.
good in taste, beautiful to look at, healthy
Hmm.
ingredients. So I did that, and I did a lot of cakes because I had to practice. So I had to like give it away for free. Even if I did it for friends, I charge very little so that I can cover my ingredients. At the same time, I try to practice and build from there. And I went on and did a PME cert.
Hmm.
Did sugar flowers. That's a UK cert. I went
Hmm.
actually to a school and we had to do sugar flowers, fondant, everything from scratch, like just clean, start with an empty glass basically.
Hmm.
And but what I realized is that all the skills that I learned in nails, because working with tiny details, right, works very well with cakes, because cake is a slightly bigger canvas than the nails, but then all the details I could apply to cakes as well.
Mm-hmm.
just a different medium. So that was my artistic outlet. Okay, so I started the cream and petals, and I had pretty good feedback, from friends, from customers. They love the cake, they love the taste. It's not so oily, as in
Mm-hmm.
buttercream. It's not so sweet, and yeah, it started from there. And then there are people who actually approach me to want to learn,
Mm-hmm.
and thank God for my experience in teaching, education with nails. That just came so easy for me, and I
Mm-hmm.
started teaching. Teaching also helped me to improve, because when I'm teaching them, I break it down, and when I break things down, I realize that I improve myself. I also get to continue practicing the skills as well.
Mm-hmm.
As with cooking, because I love, one of my hobby is fine dining. I like to I like to it's just fascinating how they can do beautiful plating. The food
Mm-hmm.
tastes good. Even it gets cold, the flavors are there. And I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big fan of the Master Chef show,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly with Master Chef Australia. There
Mm-hmm.
was like a couple of seasons I was watching, and every time I finish watching and I want to try the same thing that they were doing. So I
Mm-hmm.
actually went and learned a lot of things, behind the scenes, how it's done. And the joke is, I actually signed up for a MasterChef Singapore season 1, and I
Wow.
got an email from them to have the first audition. Okay, but
Wow.
what was out of, like, I think there were like 700 applicants, and
Mhm.
they contacted me for an audition. I was I was so overjoyed. So they told me that wait for an email to confirm the date and the filming time and so on. But
Mhm.
at that point, I was really busy with other things, and somehow that email went into my spam box, and I've forgotten all about it. So when the show was aired, then I was realizing, how come I didn't get that email? They called me. They said that I got the audition, but I never got that email. And I found that email in my spam box, and it was over.
Wow.
The filming was over. So in a way, I was like, oh, thank God, because I think I would be so nervous, right? I mean, what was I thinking? And as I was saying that, you don't try, you don't know. Yeah. And
Yeah, yeah,
just do
yeah.
it. And the main thing is, like, you get to learn from all these chefs, and it was so interesting. So I missed that boat, and I applied again.
Mhm.
I think was it last year, but I didn't get it anymore. So,
Mhm.
and I was thinking that anyway, that's it. I tried. It's not meant to be. Everything happens for a reason, right? It went to
Right.
my spam box. I missed it. So that was my adventure where cooking is concerned. But
Mhm.
yeah, but I'm still doing cream and petals at my own free time. I do some collaborative work, and
Mhm.
yeah, that's something that I really enjoy.
Mhm. Is there any like baking courses that you offer possibly like online possibly?
I thought about it online. It's not something that I would say no to, but I think it's a bit too early for me to do that. I
Mhm.
think for the time being, I still do in-person classes, workshops.
Mhm.
Um, I still need to get more experience, and then probably try to develop my own style and recipe before I actually go online and start teaching. Because what I'm teaching now is also something I learned from my teachers.
Right.
So I'm actually like duplicating. I haven't got my own style, so I don't think it's fair for me to take that and put it online in that sense. I will just be using somebody's knowledge and then transferring it online. It's not from me, so I don't think I'm ready for that yet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Now, I wanted to ask like this important question, like how important is traveling? How important is, seeing the world around you, traveling around the world to get different inspirations? Because it's one thing to look at images online to get inspiration, but the hugest difference is getting out and traveling, around the world. So with your experience, traveling, like how important is, experiencing the world and traveling and experiencing different things?
Traveling, my goodness, that is the number one thing on my bucket list, like all time. You know, although I've traveled so much, I've been to so many different countries, but there's still so much more to see.
Mm,
Um, and once this COVID is over, that is absolutely, the first thing on my bucket list.
mm,
Yes, you need to, because you get to your mind opens up. Like, you always think very small when you're in, particularly because I live in Singapore. Singapore is a really tiny country. If you look at it, you can travel from one end to the other end of the island in 45 minutes. So it's a very
mm,
small, developed country. But it's so small that sometimes you think what's around you and that's it. But when
mm,
you travel out, your mind opens up. You look at different possibilities. It's very good for business aspect, because you think that, oh, that's all there is. But then when you look around different countries, then you realize, oh, what we are lacking, what you can bring back to your country, and what
mm,
you can introduce your country. So, and as well as the nail, going to different places in the world, you see how different people work, and that's also important. If, let's say, you're starting out in the nail or beauty industry, I would recommend you to go to beauty shows when it
mm,
becomes available all
mm,
over the world. Pick a few good beauty shows, go and have a look, because that will open your eyes to new products, manufacturers, designs, techniques, everything. Being a judge, I'm also lucky enough to be invited to different countries,
mm,
and that also opened my eyes. For example, especially, like, I went to Nail Olympia
mm,
in London.
mm,
That's one of my favorite competition, because that Nail Olympia, you have competitors from Eastern Europe, all other side of Europe. Like, you will see people from Germany, you will
mm,
see people from Estonia, you see people from Asia, Japan, um, UK itself. You see all the styles, the work. They're all different, and the competitors, the way they work, the way they file, the way they apply their products, the things they use. When we walk around the floor, you get to learn a lot of things. You get to see a lot of things. Then you will realize that, oh, what we are doing may be lacking in some ways, what we can learn from other people, stuff like that. So you get to see a lot of things. Trade shows, definitely.
mm,
For nail technicians, if you get a chance to go to Japan, go to Japan. Japan trade show is really an eye opener. Get all the
mm,
beautiful, beautiful designs, products, nails, everything. So that's one place I would highly recommend. Korea, one of my favorite countries to go as well, South Korea.
mm,
Um, the American trade shows are interesting as well, very informative. You get all the huge brands. But I think over the years, the American trade show has, when nails are concerned, it's gone a little bit limited in the sense.
mm,
Um, I think I still prefer, at the moment, I love to go to America. Like, don't get me wrong, the
mm,
US, I love, love, love. Okay. But I think over the years, like, Europe is catching up, like Germany trade shows, they're good. You get to see, products made in Switzerland, product made in Germany, especially with gels. Their development of the gels are really, really good. So you get to see a lot of that. So as a nail technician, or people in the beauty industry or nail industry, go for beauty shows, international. So that's one way you can travel. You get in touch with people in the industry. You get to know people, you get to see them. That's how I get all my international friends as well. Like, we've been good friends. I've met all of them. They compete with me. We work together at the trade show. We demo at the booth. And
mm,
over the years, we judge together. We've all remained really, really good friends.
mm,
So it's such a important thing to travel and to go out and interact with people. I
mm,
think online's really good to maintain that relationship, but nothing beats an in-person anything. Networking. You need to go to events like that to grow your relationship, your friends, and then after that, you maintain it with online once in a while. But people need to get out there to see, and
mm,
you get to see how a different salon operates, the kind of price range. All these are information that you can't get from books. even if you Google, you won't be able to get it unless you're there yourself. Like walk into a salon, sit down and get people to serve you, and then you see how they work. Like one very interesting thing is that um, I think I need to bring this up as well. It may not sound fantastic, like some people might get offended, but I think it's really important. I was in Australia, um, and I was in this mall, and I had some time, and I decided that, how I'm going to kill the time. Maybe I should get pedicures done. So I walked into this shop, and it was operated by native Australians. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I walked in and said, do you have a slot where I can do a pedicure? And I was told that I didn't have an appointment, so they couldn't take me in. I had to make an appointment. And they didn't have anybody in the shop at that point. I think they probably had somebody, one or two person, but it wasn't busy. Okay. So I said, okay, how long do you think I need to wait, before I can get my pedicure done? Or she said, maybe come back in about 3 hours. Now, for a consumer, if you're shopping and you're walking around, if you had to come back in 3 hours, you would lose my business, because I happen to be there. I walk in, right? I don't have time. I have to leave. I can't come back in 3 hours. I walk into another salon, and this salon inside, all Vietnamese. Okay. I know that there's some, what do you call it, like preconceived ideas about like Vietnamese salon and blah blah, but they're not. They're all, although they're Vietnamese salon, but they're clean and everything. Being a nail tech, I can tell. I walked in, but the service level is completely different. They were full. They were busy. And what they did was, oh, please come in. Have a seat. They couldn't take me in right away, but they didn't say, oh, you don't have an appointment. I'll come back 3 hours. They got me in,
Mhm.
sat me down, gave me a drink, had one girl to start removing my polish first. So they actually lock me in, and I'm seated there. And even if I had to wait, I would wait, because they were serving me. They gave me magazine, and they sat me down. They remove my nail polish first, and then and then say, okay, please wait.
Mhm.
So this is what I'm saying about the service industry. Do you want to lose a customer because she didn't have an appointment, or you want to lock in a customer but have her wait and serve her? So this is the mentality, because you can tell that one is hungry and one's not. But
Mhm.
if you're in the service industry, whether you're hungry or not, that's how you keep people. That's how you make that extra money. And I ended up spending about $150 in that salon.
Mm.
So this is what I'm saying. It's really important. So I get I get a lot of people complaining, oh, we are losing our businesses, to Vietnamese salon and whatever. But you have to realize that this is how people keep their customers, how they hold back, how this is what they would go the extra mile for. And that makes a lot of difference, to
Mm.
to a business that is so competitive. So this is something that I always feel that nobody talks about it. They always talk about the negative side of NSS salon, or the there's a bit of a like a racism going on in our industry as well. But I think we shouldn't think about it that way. You should see that why people have a full salon, and why some people just have appointments. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So in the end, you will see that slowly these people, they grow bigger and bigger. Their salon, they will have 20, 30 staff, they have more and more people. And why you are still a a two-desk standalone salon, So this is something maybe some people might get offended. But I think it's really important, because being someone who is in the industry, and I'm a businesswoman myself, I've been around, I see this, and so it's a good thing that you asked me this question, that I could bring it up. But
Mhm.
these are things that I get through traveling, and I see things that maybe people don't see.
Mhm.
So back in our local market, we are the same thing. Like people come to your salon,
Right.
anybody that comes to your door, you don't want to lose them. Okay,
Right.
you want to serve them, they will wait. But if you If you tell them, I'm sorry, you don't have an appointment and come back another day, you will lose them forever. That's
Right.
all I'm saying. And it works every time. So even like I'm not a full time in the nail salon, but I have so many students that run nail salon. Every one of my students, the nail salons, they serve their customer that way. As long as a customer walk into your door, you hold on to them. You don't let them off. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they make it successful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I like how you brought up those different points because I think those tips are very important, because not only you're able to make money, but you can bring a connection with different clients, you know what I mean? And I used to work at a spa in my last year of college, so I was able to take in clients and work on them, but also, you get to know other people. And I think when you don't accept, people in your salon, or, you turn them away, you lose money, like how you said, you
Yeah.
know. So it's very important to, understand, business is about making money, you know what I mean? But also you can gain connections with clients and things of that nature. So, you never know, so it's better to be, engaging with different people than, turn people away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how you understand people. That's how you understand you understand better about business in general. So I'm glad you brought like those points up because those are very important to remember. And, especially with us, with the new generation who are into nails or into the beauty industry in general,
Yeah.
so I'm glad with your expertise, you brought those important points up. And I wanted to ask this other question, like, how would you define success? What is your perspective on being successful?
That's a very good question. I've given it a lot of thought as well. Like, what is being successful? Like in my younger days, a successful business means you're making a lot of money, But as I grow older, I feel like success is not just about money. Success is being, you will have your job gives you a fulfillment. You feel that you are able to contribute to something. You feel that through your job you've done something for the industry. Satisfaction. There's a lot of other things that comes with it. It's not just about how much money you make. You need to make money if you're in business. There's nobody who goes into business and lose money. That's for
Mhm.
sure. But you want to be proud of your work so
Mhm.
that you can charge accordingly. So to me, being successful, especially like in your business, you want to be able to get paid in a fair manner, that
Mhm.
what you put into your job, you get rewarded for it. That's number one. Number two, it brings you job satisfaction, that you're able to do something really well. And somebody might, like for us as educators, you want to see success in the people that you have taught before. Like as an
Mhm.
educator, when I see my students succeed, that is my success.
Mhm.
If they can better their lives, they can succeed, they can be someone people look up to. That is
Mhm.
success to me. Okay. um, as a business owner, of course, what I invest in, I can make back the money, and at the same time, I feel like I have gained some recognition in the industry. That is also, to me, is a success. So
Mhm.
it's very relative to how you view success. But I
Mhm.
think the most important thing is that you must do something that matters, and
Mhm.
some contribution, to whatever industry that you're doing. So that
Mhm.
is that's how I feel.
Mhm. Now, I want to leave like this other question. So, how would you define your impact on the world? How could you describe your legacy?
My legacy. I'm not that great yet. I don't well, I mean, to me, what's important is that like, while I'm in the nail industry, okay,
Mhm.
people who worked with me,
Mhm.
um they remember me as somebody whom have impacted their life somehow. Like it could be a fellow educator, it could be someone in the a manufacturer, or like, as long as they work with me and they remember me as positively, okay?
Mhm.
Something that I have a positive impact, that would be good enough for me. For students, while they learn from me and they've taken away something that they will remember by, if they say, oh, who inspired you? Or maybe Catherine Wong did, that means a lot to me, you know? As far as competition, judging, and all that, as long as I feel that like I'm being invited back to judge, that means they recognize that my judging has been fair, that they
Mhm.
would want me back as a judge, so that would be a good, to me, that's good enough.
Mhm.
I don't think that I will leave a, whatever huge legacy. I'm still far from it. I'm also learning every day.
Mhm.
um, but as long as that I've come across people and the impact is a positive one. Be it they remember me for something, or working with me makes them happy, or put a smile. When they talk about me, there's a smile on their face. I think that's enough. That's really enough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're one of the people that really inspired me. I really want to thank you coming on to the show and allowing me to interview you. It's such an honor to meet you. I was so inspired by you since I was like 14 years old, and looking at your work and how intricate it is. And, the amount of expertise that you have is so amazing and extraordinary. So I really wanted to tell you, from the bottom of my heart that I'm really inspired by you. You really have impacted me, in terms of art, and it's just the exploration, and you teach people that the possibilities are endless. And, I like how, you're so positive and you dive into these different aspects of art. And that's what I did. It wasn't just the nail art. It was also, doing digital art or traditional art. It was also doing like hand and arm body painting. So, you've really inspired me along with Catherine Wong, Gina Silvestro, and so many others, to push myself, beyond my limits and understand that the possibilities of creating and making a work of art is, extraordinary. You can come with so many ideas. It's ridiculous. So I really want to thank you, for allowing me, to take the time to interview you. And, it's such an honor to meet you. Thank you so much.
Asia, the honor is mine as well, because I saw your article in the McNeil's magazine, being such a young person, to even, um, you know, being inspired in the nail industry. I'm really happy to be able to meet someone like you.
Mhm.
I hope that we get to really meet in person, one of
Mhm.
these days. Yeah, keep up
Yeah.
your good work. And I really enjoyed the interview. Thank you so much for your time.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, take care, stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also, follow me on my social media platforms, as well as visiting my website, ASIATHABIRD.com, and be on the lookout for more videos to come soon. Take care, stay safe, and stay healthy.